By now, it is no secret that trading card games have always held a special place in my heart. In this series, Raikourider and myself will be opening 24 packs or one box of a core Yu-Gi-Oh set. We will continue to open a set in chronological order week after week. We will use these cards to construct a deck and then face off against each other in a best 2 out of 3 match. Each match will have 3 prizes up for grabs, with 2 prizes going to the winner and 1 going to the loser. These prizes can range from individual wildcards, to starter or structure decks, to sealed booster packs, or even event cards that were only handed out at select tournaments. However, we cannot rest on our laurels. Between the ever-evolving nature of the Forbidden and Limited list, the cards that we ourselves choose to remove from the game, and the way that the game itself changes throughout the years, all of our matches will increase in complexity and also remain fresh. This is yet another Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression series. Fucking empty jar, man. I'm not gonna lie, I'm slightly bummed about losing, but honestly, given the way I lost, I'll take that loss. I'll take it. That was funny. So, this is Abyss Rising. This set introduced in November of 2012, and this set is actually notable for bringing out quite a few very notable cards. Starting off in the commons, we see that it introduces the Mermail archetype, which are a series of water monsters that basically have the effects that let you summon other Mermails, and it basically is meant to get you into a rank 3 spam. Overall, it's an interesting archetype, and honestly, it might be kind of fun to try. So we'll have to give that a try, potentially, depending on what we end up pulling. Scrolling down more, we see more support for the Prophecy archetype, as well as more Madolche. We definitely want to see the Madolche stuff. We see Croissant here and Marmalade, which are 2 really useful monsters for this archetype. And what else is there down here? Madolche Ticket, there we go. This is a big one. So, in tandem with Madolche Chateau, this is actually a really big benefit. If a Madolche card is returned from your side of the field or graveyard to your hand or deck by a card effect, you get to add a Madolche from your deck to your hand. And if you control a face-up Fairy-type Madolche, you get special summon that monster instead of adding it to your hand. It is a hard once per turn for Ticket's effect, but we do have a Pudding Cess, which means that if we can have her on the field, we could basically special summon any monster without an issue. And on top of that, if we have Chateau on the field, that means that if we lose a Madolche, we get it back to our hand, as well as getting an extra monster on the field, or in our hand. So we definitely want to see as many copies of Ticket as we possibly can. And scrolling down even further, in terms of commons, the only other one I think is kind of notable is Electromagnetic Bagworm. It lets you target a machine-type monster your opponent controls and take control of it. And then, if this card is destroyed by battle, you get to take that monster's attack and make it lose 500 attack and defense. Now, in general, this is not a great card. However, this does make for a somewhat interesting side deck option against Karakuri. So, if we get a couple of these, we might use that as an idea to deal with Rise Karakuri deck. At least until we could get another ban in. Speaking of, I believe we're supposed to be hitting the point now with this set to where we're going to have our first wave of bans. Ryan and I did decide that we're going to do 3 waves of bans because of how many packs they have in this arc as well as the battle packs. But we'll get to that later. Scrolling up into the rares, here we actually see quite a few important cards again. We see the Mermail Abyss Gund, Abyss Sturge, Abyss Spike. These are the ones that basically help the Abyss, or the Mermail archetype in general, and work out really well. So we definitely want to see that. Madolche Messengelato is one of the best cards for the Madolche line. It has the effect that when it's special summoned, you can add a Madolche spell or trap from your deck or your hand. It does require you to have a Beast Madolche, which is one of the level 3 monsters. But it's still a pretty good effect on its own, And the fact that it has the warrior type means that you can actually use something like Rhoda to help search it as well, which is pretty beneficial. And then we see other random stuff that works out nicely in different ways. For example, Gagagigo the Risen. It requires 3 level 4s to summon, but it's just a generic rank 4 with 2950 attack. And given how poor our rank 4 line is, or our Xyz lineup really is, I'll take that if we get it, so. And then, of course, we see stuff like Spellbook of Eternity, Spellbook Star Hall, things like that that help with the Prophecy archetype more. But then we get into the super rares, and holy hell, do we see quite a few good ones. Right off the bat, we see Gagaga Cowboy, which anyone who's heard the phrase Cowboy for game knows exactly what this thing is. And let me tell you, if we could pull one of these, I will be thrilled. This has the effect that you could detach a material, and depending on what battle position it's in, have a certain effect. If it's in attack mode, it gains 1000 attack when attacking an opponent's monster, and then the opponent's monster loses 500 attack. So effectively, it gives you a 1500 point buffer on attacking something. And then if it's in defense mode, it just deals 800 damage to your opponent, no problem. Now, for those of you who don't know entirely about this, Cowboy for game basically means that you go through as much as you can to whittle your opponent's life points down, drop them down to essentially 800 or less, and then you just go into Cowboy and use the effect to finish the game off. Which, if we can pull that off, that'll be nice. Then we see Heroic Champion Kusanagi, which, if we can get this, would be very helpful for the 6 Samurai deck. It has the effect, it requires 3 level 4 warriors, but it has the effect that once per turn, if a trap is activated, you could detach a material, negate that effect, destroy it, and then Kusanagi gains 500 attack permanently. Which, more free negates, essentially, on top of Shien. Thank you. And then we see Abyss Dweller, which is another big Xyz monster. 2 generic level 4s. While it has a material, that's considered water originally. All of your water monsters gain 500 attack. And then once per turn, you could detach a material to make your opponent unable to activate any card effects in their graveyard for the turn. Which is pretty useful in certain decks. And then scrolling down into the Ultra and Ultimate Rare slot, we honestly, personally, I think the only thing we want to see would be Abyss Lind for Mermail, and that's really only if we hit enough of the Mermail stuff to matter. But we definitely want to see a copy of Madolche Queen Tiara Misu. This requires 2 level 4 Madolches, has the effect that you could detach a material, target up to 2 Madolche cards in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, and then you shuffle cards your opponent controls into the deck up to the number of cards you returned. So essentially, it's a good way to bypass some targeted removal protection, and on top of that, because it shuffles it back into the deck, it makes it a lot harder for those cards to get retrieved later on. Whereas for us, we're okay if our cards go back to the deck. And then finally, we scroll down into the secret rares, where personally, I'm not really a big fan of too many of these, but I'd say Bahamut Shark would probably be one of the better ones for us to see. It requires 2 level 4 water monsters, which basically means we'd have to run the Mermail line. But it has the effect that you get detach a material once per turn, special summon a rank 3 or lower water Xyz monster from your extra deck, and this card can't attack for the rest of this turn. Considering the fact that this lets you get out another Xyz monster, that's pretty helpful. And there are certain monsters that definitely come in handy for that. The only, again, downside is that it requires it to be a rank 3 or lower water monster. But nonetheless, it's still a good card, and this set overall is actually pretty solid. But before we get into those, we do need to make a couple of important notes. So one of the big changes that we have to discuss is the ban list got updated in September of 2012. And there's a few changes that we have to make note of here. So first off, we see Brionac, Dragon of the Ice Barrier, and Future Fusion are banned now. For us, that doesn't matter because A, they were already limited, and B, neither of us are really using these anyway, so it doesn't matter. Chaos Sorcerer goes down to 1. Dragonfly goes to 1. Insector Hornet goes to 1. Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon goes to 1, which kind of sucks because we do have a red MD. We only have 1, but That's not, so it's not as bad, but still. And then we see Spore and Tsukiyomi come off the ban list a little bit. Zen Mighty gets put to 1, which is nice considering we're going to be getting a copy of Zen Mighty sometime soon. Or, wait, no, different Zen Mind. Sorry. Kalute goes to 2, which is important. Debris Dragon comes up to 2. Rescue Rabbit is put down to 2. This is going to be a scary moment, I can guarantee it. Tour Guide goes to 2. Thankfully, we only have 2 copies anyway. Pot of Duality goes to 2. I don't think either of us has more than 1 copy, though, so it's not as important. Mirror Force goes to 2. If Rai has more than 1 copy of Mirror Force, then we're going to find out that way. And then we see the Unlimits, where Necrogardener, Marshmallow, Destiny Draw, Emergency Teleport goes to 3. I did not realize Emergency Teleport actually came back to 3 at some point before recent times. That's crazy. Swords of Feeling Light goes back to 3, and Magic Cylinder also goes back to 3. Unfortunately, we only have 2 copies of it, but hey, it's not too bad. And now we also have to deal with one other thing, which is Turbo Pack 8. Basically just flipping the 3 cards and seeing what we got. So, first pack, we see a Lost Guardian, a Flamvell Fire Dog, Wind Up Factory. I think we have enough factories at this point. Second pack, Alligator Sword Dragon, another factory, we're definitely good there. And final pack, we see a Gozen Match. We already have a playset of that. That might make our Flamvell Fire Dog playset, but that's about it. So, now we're going to go ahead and get into the actual packs. Okay, so we have 24 packs of Abyss Rising. There's quite a few important things we want to see, so let's just get straight into it. Flip our first pack, and right off the bat, I don't really see anything too incredible. Snowdust Giant, though, might be something. Let's take a look. 2 level 4 waters, once per turn, detach a material, reveal any number of water monsters from your hand, place that many ice counters on face-up monsters on the field. Non-water monsters on the field lose 200 attack for each ice counter on the field. Oh! Okay, that's actually kind of neat. The fact that the non-water monsters lose them for each ice counter on the field and not on them is actually kind of sweet. I'll definitely have to keep that in mind. That's actually a pretty decent effect. Okay, so we see another Abyss Pike, which is good. We see a Madolche Crufsant, and our first electromagnetic bagworm, so that's pretty good to see. Anything else? I don't think so. Oh, our first super rare, Attack the Moon. Anyone who has... Oh, hit the wrong button. Anyone who has seen the anime probably recognizes this moment, and the nostalgia is going to hit hard. Once per turn, when the battle position of a rock monster you control is changed, you can target a spell or trap your opponent controls and destroy it. Which is actually kind of interesting, albeit not very useful. Other than that, we also see another Bagworm, which is pretty good, and a second Abyss Warrior, so that's also pretty good. And Cash Back actually might be kind of an interesting card as well. If your opponent activates a card effect that pays their life points, negate the activation, return it to the deck. This might actually be a good counter for Solemn Judgment, honestly. Ooh, okay, so we hit another super rare, Abyss Squall. I don't actually remember what this card does. Target 3 Mermails in your graveyard, special summon them in defense mode. If their effects are negated, they can't attack. Destroy them during the end phase. Okay, that's actually a really good effect. If we can get the Mermail archetype going, that's actually a really solid card for that. And we hit another Marble Maid, which is also good. And we also see a Mermail Abyss Lung, too, which is kind of nice. All in all, really good pack. Yes! Oh my god, yes, we hit Cowboy. Oh, thank god. I'm excited. Not only is this good because it's strong, but we finally have a rank 4. And we also see another Cashback, too, which is also really good. Damn, this pack... Okay, so right off the bat, we're at 3 super rares, which is already better than our last pack's luck. Oh, we hit an ultra rare, but not the one I wanted to see. Empress of Prophecy. I mean, if we were running the Spellbook archetype, this wouldn't be bad, but still. It requires 2 level 5 spellcasters, which is already incredibly tough. Gains 300 attack for each material attached to a monster you control. Then you could attach a material from this card, shuffle your deck, mill the top 5, destroy monsters equal to the number of spellbooks excavated, and then place them back on the top of the deck. It's a good effect, it's just, if you're not running Prophecy, it's not amazing. We do see an Abyss Sturge though, so I'm happy to see that at least. So we're down to our last 3 packs, and while I'm excited that we're actually seeing a fair amount of Mermail stuff, which is good, the problem is I have not seen a Mess and Gelato. We've only seen, I believe, 2 Madolche Ticket, and we have not seen Tiara Misu, so I'm kind of hoping to see something of that nature for these last 3. Flip up. Okay, we see a Mermail Abyssmander, which is good. I think that's about it here. Second to last pack. There we go. Flip. And we don't see anything here except another Marmalade, but we already have a playset. And last pack. Can we see? Oh, we got Abyss Dweller. Ho, 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 ho. And a 3rd ticket. Okay, that's also really good to see. Okay, so no Mess and Gelato, no Tiara Misu, which kind of hurts. But we got Abyss Dweller, we got Cowboy, we got the Empress of Prophecy, which isn't all that important to us, really. And we also got a, what was the Abyss card? Squall? I actually don't, yeah, Abyss Squall. So, I mean, all in all, not too bad of a result. Definitely going to need to plug a few holes with some wild cards here and there, but we actually have quite a few important pickups out of this. So, you know what? I'm happy with that. Alright, so let's get into the deck building and see what we could come up with, and hopefully try to come up with something to deal with Empty Jar as well. Alright, so here's the deck we're bringing to tonight's duel, and honestly, I'm kind of feeling good about this, especially now that we know that Empty Jar is in Rye's back pocket. So, as you can see, we're running the Black Wings once again. The only difference, there's really not too many differences here, but we'll go ahead and do the card by card anyway. We have 3 copies of Blizzard the Far North, 3 copies of Boar the Spear, 1 copy of Elfin the Raven, 1 Gale the Whirlwind, the newly semi-limited Kalut the Moonshadow at 2 copies, 3 copies of Shura. So essentially, same thing as before. Summon out Blizzard, get a Bora or Shura, boom, level 6. Drop out an Elfin and summon out anything else, we're good to go. So, we'll see what happens there. And of course we have the 1 Glow-A-Bulb, the 3 Maxi, the 1 Plague Spreader, Zombie, the 1 Sangan, and the 1 Witch of the Black Forest. For our spells, we have 1 Allure of Darkness, 1 Black Whirlwind, 1 Book of Moon, 1 Brain Control, 1 Cards for Black Feathers, 1 Dark Hole, triple MST, Pot of Duality, Pot of Greed, and Forceful Sentry. And for our traps, we have 1 Divine Wrath, 1 Fiendish Chain, 2 Icarus Attack, 2 copies of Magic Cylinder, 1 Ring of Destruction, and 1 Solemn Warning. Now, before we go into the side deck and whatnot, there is one thing I need to point out, and that is I made a big boo-boo. For those of you who don't know, or may not have paid attention to the last time, I was not supposed to pick up a copy of Divine Wrath. When we were in the Battle Pack episode, I had said that my 3 choices were going to be Torrential Tribute, Cyber Valley, and Fiendish Chain. However, because I screwed up and forgot about that, I ended up picking up Divine Wrath for the deck last episode. But, because I did that, and I did not use Torrential Tribute at all, what I'm going to do is simply switch Torrential Tribute and Divine Wrath out, so that way I am still within the legal confines of this. The only downside is that means I don't have Torrential Tribute to work with, which kind of sucks, but oh well. Moving on into the extra deck, we have Armory Arm, Black Rose Dragon, Blackwing Silverwind the Ascendant, Blackwing Armor Master, Colossal Fighter, Goyo Guardian, Red Dragon Archfiend, Scrap Dragon, Double Stardust Dragon, Thought Ruler Archfiend, And for our Xyz monsters, we have one Abyss Dweller, one Gagaga Cowboy, one Kachi Kochi Dragon, and one number 17 Leviathan Dragon. I gotta say, it feels good to actually have some rank 4s available to us for once. And for our side deck, we have one Dark Arm Dragon. In case we need an extra powerhouse, we have one copy of Gores. And these next few cards are going to be to help deal with Empty Jar specifically. We have 2 copies of Outstanding Dog Maron. For those of you who do not know what this card is, first off, shame on you for not knowing what this cute little puppy is. And second off, this is basically going to be our anti-deck out method, hopefully. This card has the effect that if it's sent to your graveyard, you shuffle it back into the deck. That's it. So, if he ends up dumping this, if we have this in our hand and he dumps it to the grave with Morphing Jar, then this just goes right back to the deck afterwards, so we're good to go there. And 2 copies of Prohibition. If he is still on the Empty Jar bullshit, hopefully we can get Prohibition out and immediately declare Morphing Jar, because then either we could declare Morphing Jar, at which point he has to get rid of this card before doing anything, or if he's already got a monster on the field, which will likely be the Morphing Jar, we can at least call something like Book of Moon or Book of Tayo or something like that, and basically make it a lot harder for him to actually get through it without popping Prohibition first. And then we have 3 System Down, just in case he's going back into the Karakuris. And then we have 3 Call of the Haunted, 2 Cashback. This card is actually useful in case Rai ends up having Solemn Judgment or Solemn Warning in play. We could basically flip this after he pays his life points, negate that effect, bounce it to the deck, and basically Rai gives up a bunch of life points for no effect. And then 1 Starlight Road in case we end up really needing something like that. I doubt it, because unless he's playing something like Blackwings himself and running Icarus Attack, the fact is, chances are good that Starlight Road's not going to make much effect. But it's always good to have it as a backup option just in case. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, it's time to duel. Alright, Abyss Rising.
I'm just very glad that I don't have to deal with Mermail in Prague, because Mermail, I don't know if you got to see constructed around this time, but Mermail was incredibly frustrating to play against.
Oh, absolutely. And it's an interesting deck, it's just we're not going to have access to a lot of it because of the rarity.
Yeah, Mermail is just incredibly high rarity, because you need 3 Abyss Sphere, I think you need 3 Megalo too, and those are both extremely high rarity.
Yep.
Just Abyss Sphere is the best back row in the deck. But there's a lot of scary stuff out there still.
Yes, there is. And after this episode, we might be calling a bit of it, so...
We may.
Alright, let's see. Alright. Alright. We had the same thought. There we go.
Ah. That was a good battle, though.
Oh, yeah. Alright, I'm gonna take the play. Not very much longer before this stops being a thing.
Oh no, we don't have a ton of Xyz era left, do we?
No, we do not. Only another 6 core packs, I believe?
Yeah, we still have the 3 battle packs coming up, too.
Yep. Alright, main 1. Let's see. I think I'm gonna start by activating Pot of Duality.
Duality's fine. Back on the birds, I see.
Yep. Caw-caw! Not gonna lie, a lot of these look really good, but I kinda want the bulb. Just to be able to get that into rotation as soon as possible.
Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Blizzard is not very good early in the game. This was one of the decks I had my eyes on, now that Collude is at 2 copies.
Oh yeah. Admittedly,
and then it goes to 3 on the very next list.
I was tempted to hold off until it went back to 3, but I had a feeling that at that point it was going to be expected. Alright, let's fire off Allure of Darkness too.
Oh, Allure's fine. When'd you craft one of those?
Way back
Oh wait,
when.
no, I think you pulled one.
No, I didn't.
You have.
No, I pulled the cards for Black Feathers. I crafted the Allure back when I crafted Dark Arm Dragon and whatnot.
And I think Allure's still limited at this point.
I think so. Because you have 2 of them, right?
I do have 2 Allures, you're correct.
Alright, let's go ahead and banish this copy of Bora.
Yup.
And why not? off the cracks, so.
That's fine. Not happy, but...
Alright, I'm gonna just set a monster, and then I'll set 1, 2, and 3, and I will pass it to you.
Well, there's clearly an Icarus attack back there. Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. I'm gonna activate... Do I want to activate that now? No, I think I'm actually just gonna set a pair and pass.
During end phase, let's MST that back row.
Sure, it's Book of Eclipse.
I knew it! I knew what this was gonna be! Alright, draw. Stand by main. I freaking knew this was gonna be Empty Jar again.
I knew you're... I'm just happy to know you're not on Madolche.
Oh, trust me, if I had enough stuff to build Madolche, I would absolutely be doing it right now. But, alas, I don't. Alright. Let me think here. How do I want to do this exactly? Okay.
Unfortunately, the Empty Jar is not nearly as good when they know it's coming.
Right. Alright, let's get this on the way. First, I'm going to set a card, and then I'm going to flip my Witch of the Black Forest.
Sure.
Then I'm going to normal summon my Gale the Whirlwind.
Sure. Is this Armor Master?
Yes, it is. Oh, wait, can I? Oh, yes, I can. Okay.
That's pretty good.
So I'm going to get my Witch Search. Let's see.
Yep.
Considering that I know that's probably Morphing Jar, I guess I'll just hedge it and add Plague Spreader to my hand.
That's fine.
Then... Alright. We'll go to battle. Armor Master in.
It's Needleworm. Please mill 5.
Ooh. Okay. That's neat.
Get all that nonsense out of there.
Yeah, some pretty good ones out of that, but oh well. Alright, main phase 2. I think I'll just pass.
Card for turn. Standby phase, main phase. I'm going to set a monster, then I'm going to activate a lab.
Ooh. Let's MST that.
Sure, I'm going to activate a lab.
Oh, of course. Alright, fine.
Go.
Alright. Draw. Standby main. Ooh, that's not bad.
After how long that card had been at 1.
True.
For good reason, that card's such a pain.
It really is. Alright, well, unfortunately Armor Master's not going to be very useful for me here, so let's go ahead and upgrade with Glow-a-Bulb.
This is an 8. Probably scrap.
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, he is going to have to go to defense. Let's see. My problem is... Unfortunately for me, my big problem is I don't have any way of dealing with LLab just yet, so... Ooh, actually, here's a fun idea on how I can handle part of this. So I'm going to mill a card to bring back the...
Oh, for bulb?
And then I will use Scrap Dragon's effect, targeting Bulb and your monster.
Sure, it's 80 changer.
Alright. And then I'll pass.
Card for turn. Standby phase. Main phase. I am going to prohibit Scrap Dragon. And then I will pass the turn, assuming that's good.
Wait. Why would you do that, considering it's still on the field, so it counts already?
I know how to read.
I'll let you take that back, if you want.
That's fine. I'll just pass them, that being the case.
Okay. Standby main. Let's see, how do we want to do... Oh, that's kind of funny. Alright, I'm gonna activate Black Whirlwind.
Yeah, that seems good. Am I dead?
I don't think you're dead, but I'm gonna normal summon Kalut.
Yup.
Declare Black Whirlwind.
Your Gale's... Oh no, your Gale's gone.
Yeah, my Gale is gone, but I can add a Blizzard.
Blizzard, yeah.
Then I'm going to Scrap Dragon, targeting L-Lab and Whirlwind.
Sure.
In attack. Battle phase.
I'll just take it all.
Alright. Damage step for Kalut. I have a Kalut.
Oh, you also have a... Okay. Well, I don't have to worry about that for the rest of the game.
Well, you're right, because I also have a ring.
Oh. Yeah, that's fine.
Woo!
I'm not gonna lie, in that game I drew a very, very awkward hand.
I can imagine. Alright.
Alright, draw. Draw for turn. Standby phase, main phase. I'm going to set 1, 2, 3 cards, and I will pass the turn.
Okay. Draw. Standby, main. Well, first things first, assuming that face-down monster isn't already Morphing Jar, we're going to Prohibition Morphing Jar.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't like it, but it's fine.
Then I'm going to set 2 cards face down. Then I'm going to run out a copy of Shura.
Shura is fine.
Battle. Let's see what you got.
It's a Cyber Jar.
Ooh. Okay, so how does this work exactly? Does Shura trigger first, or... Well, actually, does Shura even trigger at all, then?
Cyber Jar will be Chainlink 1, Shura will be Chainlink 2, so it actually does not matter unless you want a Blackwing in your graveyard. Because Cyber Jar is mandatory, Shura is optional.
Ah, right. Nah, I think I'll just, I'll forego it. Mallet, Eclipse, Prohib, and Eclipse.
I see you like cashback.
Honestly, I really do. Especially given the fact that Solemn has screwed me over a few times.
I actually talked about that it stopped Solemn Judgment.
Okay.
Then I need to take a peek. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh. 1 second. That way you can, that way you have access to what I picked up too. Alright. 4 into the AD changer?
Yeah, 16 in.
Actually...
Oh, you have damage step.
Double Kaloot.
Of course. The two of.
And I didn't even have to dig through half
disgusting.
my deck for that one.
You had both of those opening hand, that's disgusting.
It was. Unfortunately, that was also the only black wings I had in my hand, so... That was... Well, aside from Shura. Alright, main 2. Okay, let's prohib the Eclipse.
Okay, so Book of Eclipse and...
And Morphing
lovely.
Jar.
That's really lovely.
And then I will set a card and pass it back. Could be anything.
Card for turn. Standby phase, main phase. I'm gonna mallet.
I had a feeling you would. Go right ahead.
Alright, well we're gonna put this card that may or may not be a Book of Eclipse on top of my deck. We're gonna put this card that may or may not be a Book of Eclipse on top of my deck.
We may put this card that may or may not be a Book of Eclipse. That would actually be funny if you had all 3 in hand.
I'm thinking on the rest of these. I'll put this away as well. And this too. I'll mallet for 4.
Okay.
Activate 1 day of peace.
1 day, sure.
Then I'm gonna set a monster. And... pass the turn.
Okay. Alright. I'll draw. Standby. Main. I'm going to... Since I control a Blackwing, I'm going to summon my Elfin the Raven.
So that's gonna flip up my set, isn't it?
Yes, it will.
It's another worm.
Alright.
So you can mill 5.
Ooh. I am happy to see that Plague Spreader.
I'm sure you are.
Okay. So... Unfortunately, I cannot use... Well, actually I can. The question is, do I want to? That damn 1 day apiece is going to make this tough for me, though, specifically.
Indeed.
Okay. I'm going to Icarus attack. I'm going to tribute my Bora and target your 2 back row.
That is really good. I was really hoping you would activate that PSC too.
Ooh. Okay, let me double check 1 day apiece. Okay, okay, so players take no damage.
Correct. We take no damage.
Okay. Let's run Pot of Greed.
You got it.
Probably being a little risky there, but oh well. Alright. Battle. Let's just go ahead and clear out the Needleworm.
Sure, that's gone.
Main phase 2. I think I'll just pass.
Card for turn.
Alright.
Standby phase. Anything?
Nothing.
Main phase. I'm gonna activate 1 day apiece.
Alright.
When does this card get limited?
I think the next set, next list, actually.
That was more of a rhetorical question. I knew it was next list, but...
Honestly, the correct answer is too damn late.
Indeed. I am going to take a peek in your bin. Not super happy about this play, but I think I need to do it. I am going to activate the Shallow Grave. I will target Cyberjar.
Oh, okay. I think then I'm going to target my Sangin.
That's why I didn't want to do that. So this will be specialed. Effective 80 changer in Grave.
Okay.
Obviously targeting the jar.
That's fine.
Kaboom.
No.
No! That's rude.
I'm sorry, but no. That was a good effort, I'll give you that.
Then I'm going to set a monster, and then set a back row, and then I will pass the turn.
Alright. Draw. Standby main. Okay, so 1 day apiece is active once again. Good to know. Let's duality.
Fine.
Ooh. Those
That's
are pretty
disgusting. Those are all good. Well, the cylinder's not.
good. Yeah, the cylinder's not, but I'll definitely take the MST.
I don't know why that's still in your main deck. I don't know why you didn't board that out.
Honestly, it's mostly because I don't have anything else in my side really worth switching it out for. At least not against this deck. Okay. So we're going to MST the back row.
It's Grave of the Super Ancient Organism.
What the hell? Level 6 or higher special summon monsters can't attack or... Oh goodness, that's an interesting card.
I got that all the way back in, I think, the Duelist Genesis. It's an Ultra.
That's pretty good.
It's very good against decks like Blackwing.
Oh, definitely. Okay, let me think here. Okay, so I'm gonna run out Shura.
Shura's okay.
I'm going to set one card, and then battle phase, Shura attacks.
It's Witch of the Black Forest, but I don't think I have any good targets left in my deck.
Alright, so Witch is 1, Shura's 2.
Yup.
So I will...
It's gonna be a worm.
Alright.
That's the only good target I have left. I don't even care what you get. Yeah, those are fine.
Alright, and then main phase 2. How do I want it? What do I want to do here? The problem I have specifically is that I don't... This is actually a really tough one because... Oh, wait, no. I'm stupid. I don't actually have a good level... Like, I can create Armor Master, but that's actually it, pretty much. I'm gonna pass the turn.
Alright, I need a good draw. I have a lot of outs, but I need a good one. Who? Is that one of them? Is that one of them is the question. I'm not happy about it, but it does buy me a turn. I'm going to activate Stellar Reproduction, discarding Book of Eclipse and the Shallow Grave. I'm going to target 1 Day of Peace.
Alright. That's actually a pretty good pickup. That's actually a pretty good tactic.
I'm going to activate 1 Day of Peace.
Alright.
Is that good?
That's
okay,
good.
It is.
This is actually going to make this a lot tougher now that I think about it.
I'm going to activate the Shallow Grave. Target Cyberjar.
Okay, I will target my... I guess I'll target my Bora. I don't actually have a good way of dealing with this now that I think about it.
Then I'm going to set a monster and pass.
Okay. Draw. Standby main. That does not actually help me all that much. God, I really don't like this, but I feel like I might have to. Just, do I really want to, though? That's the big question. No, I really don't want to, because if I do that, that's going to screw me over so hard. I'm going to set a card and pass the turn.
Card for turn. Standby phase, main phase. Got an effect negation for me?
I don't. However, I at least can Ring of Destruction my Elfin to deal 2,200 to you.
Sure, 22 it. I'm gonna say you do actually need to take the damage even though your life total is not relevant.
Right. And then... Oh, Jesus. Why did I have to get both of them on the field?
Yeah, that is a way to deal with this deck. I was wondering...
You weren't expecting that, though, were you? I knew you said that you guys were talking about me having two, things. I'm willing to bet that's not what you were expecting, though.
No. Thankfully, I have Prohib, so I can at least I can stop its effect.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. That's true. It doesn't only affect the field.
Yep, it just... Yeah, which is obviously the first thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to stop that.
Okay. Next thing you're going to do is stop it.
I'm not normaled yet. I am going to greed, though.
Alright. See, this is going to put me in a little bit of an interesting spot. Can I get the last bit of damage off before you manage to mill me out?
Then for my normal, I am going to... You have 9?
Oh, wait, I just realized something. Blizzard has to go into my hand.
Right, Blizzard does go into your hand because it can't be special summoned.
Right.
Anyway, let's think here. You have 9 in deck?
Yep.
I think I actually have you.
Ah, shit.
Set a monster, activate Tayo.
Alright. Needleworm?
It is Needleworm, and then I have these two.
Ah, damn it.
How did I win with Prohib on Morphing Jar? Excuse!
The fact... and the worst part is, if I didn't get both morons on the field, then it wouldn't have mattered. Because I would have had a card. Damn!
Hey, just be happy that you won't have to deal with this deck after the next ban list, because the next ban list is going to make this deck very, very bad.
True. Alright, I'll go first.
Alright, game 3. I wasn't expecting this to go to a game 3, I'll tell you that much. Good luck, buddy.
Good luck. Draw, standby main. Alright, first things first, let's see what you're dealing with.
My hand's not great.
Duality, MST, Eclipse, Grave, Serial Spell. Okay. Let's send the Pot of Duality back.
That's the obvious choice.
Okay. Then I'm gonna Allure of Darkness.
Sure.
Alright, I will banish my Blizzard. And I am going to prohib Morphing Jar once again.
Sure.
Then I will set a monster, I will set a card, and I will pass.
Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. The first thing we're going to do is space the prohib.
Alright.
Greed.
Off the top. Well,
Yeah, greed off the top. Isn't it nice?
I mean, I can't complain. I had freaking Duality into Allure into Pot of Greed game 1, so... Alright, that's good.
Then I'm just going to set a pair. Go!
So you did get a monster. Question is, what the hell is it? Alright. I'm going to set a card. I'm going to activate my Black Whirlwind.
Yup.
And then I'm going to flip summon my Sandkin.
Sure.
Let's poke in.
Sure, it's Needleworm. You can mill 5.
Alright. Oh, that's a rough one.
Yeah, those are some nasty mills.
Okay. Main phase 2. I'm just gonna pass.
Card for turn. Standby main. I'm gonna set a monster and pass the turn.
Alright. Draw. Standby main. Oh, that's not bad. I will normal summon my Blizzard the Far North.
I am going to respond to the Black Whirlwind trigger. I'm assuming you're going to activate the Black Whirlwind trigger, sorry.
I'm actually not. I don't have a target.
Oh, you don't have a target, that's fine.
But I will activate the effect of Blizzard.
That is A-okay.
Alright. I will bring back Bora the Spear.
Thinking.
Okay.
On res, I'm gonna book Eclipse.
Book of Eclipse, huh? Let me think here. How much do I worry? Nah, what the hell.
Okay, cool.
Because I still get 3 cards after this anyway, so...
You do get 3 cards still, yes.
Okay. I will go to end phase, so they will flip back up.
Yeah, then you get to draw 3.
Alright, and your turn.
Card for turn. Standby phase, main phase. You're gonna mill 5.
Alright.
I'm gonna activate 1 Day of Peace.
Okay.
Here we go, finally.
Ooh, Gold Sark, okay.
I've seen that the entire match. But yes, Gold Sark.
Alright, Sark's fine.
Well, you know what's coming. Then I'm going to, because I haven't normaled yet, I'm going to set a monster Then I need to take a peek at what's in your yard. I'm just going to pass the turn.
Okay, let's see.
I'm not super thrilled about this turn, but...
Yeah, this is probably...
I think I know what you're contemplating. You're going to Icarus this.
Yeah, I'm going to Icarus. I'm going to target my Bora and get rid of those two.
That's fine. It was an 80 changer. Thank you. I wanted that in my graveyard.
Ugh. Okay. See, the sucky part is 1 day apiece also stops Ring of Destruction, which makes this a double pain in the ass. Okay. How do I want to handle this is the big question. Ooh, that's actually not a bad card. Okay. Problem is I don't have a good way of getting to it, though. Oh, wait, I actually do. Okay, I'm going to normal summon Shura the Blue Flame.
Sure.
I'm going to mill a card to get back Bulb.
You're brave.
I'm going to sync these two together to bring out Armory Arm.
And then are you going to overlay?
Let's see. I will add Plague to my hand.
This would be funny, seeing Armory Arm used as Xyz material.
It is actually being used for that. And you're getting to see you're getting to see one of the cards I pulled. Abyss Dweller.
Oh my god, you got an Abyss Dweller? That card's disgusting.
This can actually be pretty helpful for me.
That card's disgusting.
Unfortunately for me, it doesn't help quite as much, just because of the fact that I still can't deal damage this turn.
That's still gross, though.
I'm going to switch that into attack mode, just because that would make you have to have an effort. And then I'm going to pass the turn.
Draw for turn. Standby. I believe this is 1 turn on Sark.
Yep, turn 1.
Oh, right, standby. Would you like the Dweller?
Effects in the graveyard. All you have is AD Changer. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and detach. Just in case.
That's A-okay. I'm going to that just stops card effects. Okay. It doesn't stop me from targeting cards in the graveyard. Cool. I'm going to Shallow Grave, target Needleworm.
Okay. I will bring... Oh, right. Bulb used. I will bring back... I'm gonna bring back my Bora.
I believe Icarus attack is still at 2. I'm going to set a back row, or main, sorry. Main, yeah, obviously all this is in main, but
right.
Yeah. I'm gonna set a pair and pass the turn.
Okay. Draw. Standby. Main.
God, Abyss Dweller is such a good card.
Let's space the back row.
That's annoying. That's a Book of Moon.
Okay. Okay, so I actually can deal damage this time.
You can.
Alright. I'm going to flip my Bora.
That's pretty good.
I'm going to normal summon Shura.
Yep, am I dead?
I don't know if you're necessarily dead.
So much damage.
Let's see. It's 3, 4, 43, 53, 61. Oh, you might be dead, actually.
How many Kaloots are in your graveyard? Oh, lovely. 0.
Alright, Bora's gonna go in.
That's 11. You'll mill 5.
And well, you're gonna take an extra 14.
Sure, 25.
Oh.
Okay, the other Kaloot's gone, but one of your dogs shuffles back in.
Yep, so back to the top of the deck.
It's 26, 43, 60. Yeah, I am very dead. Yeah, you're right. Because that's 18, 35, 48, 61. Yeah, I am extremely dead.
Okay, don't surrender just yet, because I want to do something funny. So we're going to go 13.
Sure, 13.
17.
17.
18.
I swear to God, if you also pulled a fucking cowboy...
For the first time in our series, cowboy for game?
You got a cowboy too, wow. What are these pulls, dude?
Honestly, it's about, like, okay, don't get me wrong, yeah, cowboy's a little over excessive, but goddamn, thank God I finally have some rank 4s to work with.
Yeah, those are 2 really solid rank 4s. So the only changes that I made were, like, I had the side deck Grave the Super Ancient Organism last time, but the big change I made was I took Dandelion out because it was getting in the way of Duality, and
right.
I just did not see Morphing Jar the entire time. So, so you might have noticed the Prohibs were in the main this time.
I'm not surprised. Prohib is actually really good in that regard.
So, since I'm not going to be playing this deck anymore, you want to know the real reason why I had Prohibition in the main deck?
Why is that?
Because of the way this game works, all you have to do to stop Empty Jar is put 1 copy of a specific card in your main deck.
And what's that?
Droll and Lockbird.
Oh, right. Droll and Lockbird.
I actually had 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird in my side because I thought you would also play this deck. So I was gonna blind Prohib Droll and Lockbird.
Yeah, it's kind of a good thing you didn't do that, because, remember how in our offline series I didn't pull a single one? History repeats itself.
Are you kidding? You didn't get a...
I didn't get a single Droll, and I actually did not notice that until just now.
You know what else? I think I did not pull any in the main opening. I had to pull one from the bonus opening in Star Strike Blast, and then I crafted my other 2.
Honestly, they are a really good choice for that, though.
And it doesn't get a reprint, ever.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a $15 card because Konami refuses to reprint Droll despite it being, like, a side deck staple.
Yep.
But this is kind of to be expected, and I don't think I was beating this with any of my other decks, really. But this is what happens when this deck does not see Jar.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't see it this time. But this deck has had its time in the sun. A little bit disappointed I couldn't get there, but the fact that this went to such a close Game 3 as it was is incredible.
Oh, yeah. Like, let's be entirely honest. There is no way that should have even gone to a Game 3. I should have had that in the bag. But I feel like I probably punted it somewhere to let that happen, but oh well.
It'll be interesting to see.
It was entertaining as hell, though, I'll say that.
Oh, absolutely, and we have a lot to talk about still.
Yes, we do.
because of the battle packs that we will be adding, they're going to be a very large number of episodes in Zexal. So we're actually going to be making 3 trips to the Hall of Eternity instead of 2.
Yep.
And our first one is, I'm anticipating going to solve a bunch of very serious problems with this format. There have been a lot of serious problems that have crept into our format, and hopefully we can get some of those solved. So the way this will work is because of the records, you will get 3 bans and I will get 1. You will choose your first 2 and then I will choose mine. And then you will get your last one. So Demon Battler, I would like to ask you, what is the first card you would like to remove from the format today?
Alright, so I know that the next Forbidden and Limited list is going to nerf the hell out of this deck, and quite frankly, I don't care. We saw this card twice in a row, and even though I have a copy of it too, I don't want to deal with the constant potential. So my first ban, we're just going to straight up eliminate Morphing Jar.
That is perfectly acceptable. I was actually kind of anticipating you would throw a ban at this card, and I am okay with the ban being used on this card, because you have one too, you've got that Dark World core that gets a lot worse with it, and I'm perfectly okay with Empty Jar going away. It has had its time in the limelight.
Yeah.
And really I wanted to kind of shift a ban towards that card and not towards the decks that are actually a problem in the format.
Well,
so I am very okay with Morphing Jar leaving.
Well, you say that. Keep in mind, I do have 3 bans, so that kind of makes a slight impact there. But
it does.
So, for my second ban, it's going to hit the Raikourider deck, but it's not going to hit it in a direct way, but rather I want to eliminate one of the biggest bombs available to you. And considering I don't actually have access to this card myself, it is a fairly easy choice. I'm going to choose to ban Overload Fusion.
Fair. That is absolutely fair. We've had a number of Chimera Tech blowouts, and that's one of the big ways that the Raikourider deck that I have has caused a lot of problems for you, just being able to go straight over the top. So Overload Fusion is going to make Chimera Tech Over Dragon not playable in the slightest.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's the big thing. It's the fact that Raikourider has its utility still, but at the same time, Chimera Tech just takes it over the top, which I do feel without Chimera Tech and without Machine Dupe, I feel like Raikourider will at least be somewhat fair. Now, if it turns out to still be busted as fuck, well, then we can look into seeing about actually going for its legs instead of the side.
I honestly thought you were going to hit one of the Raikourider synchros.
I was considering it, but basically my thought process is, 1, I have them as well, and 2, they extend, but they don't necessarily break the game. Like, they're not necessarily the end-all, be-all, whereas Chimera Tech basically ends the game right off the bat, depending on how many monsters you've summoned.
They do, and if you have a really well-timed Divine Wrath or Warning or anything to actually stop their Synchro monster, then that can break their board instantly. So I think there's enough play with the first Synchro monster, where if you can do something to negate its effect, even something like a Fiendish Chain on their first Synchro is just devastating.
Right.
Alright, so I had to think long and hard about this decision. And one card that has been on my mind is a card that you've had for a very, very long time. There's not a particular deck of yours that I'm concerned about, but you have some extremely powerful, extremely annoying cards. And I will say this, I am not targeting Max C this week. Not just because of the tins, because I may have an opportunity to get one. But I don't think Max C is a problem in the format yet. It will be a problem down the line. But I have another card that I have been looking at that has been absolutely bugging me pretty much since the beginning of 5Ds, especially since you've remembered you had it in your collection and started putting it in your deck again. I'm very tired of being able to just not able to hide anything. I'm very tired of having my hand exposed at the beginning of the game. A Pointer of the Red Lotus was recently banned, and that was a 2k life point payment to take one of their cards for a turn, and get perfect hand knowledge. Demon Battler, I am tired of you having perfect hand knowledge at the start of the game and being able to take a card out of my hand for no cost at all. The Forceful Sentry's gone.
You know what? I can't say I'm surprised. That is the last of our broken DM staples that have stuck around, at least in terms of the power spells. And honestly, I'm shocked that it's lasted this long.
I just haven't had an opportunity to ban it because there have been way too many other cards that have been bigger problems.
Fair. And yeah, honestly, that makes sense. Forceful Sentry is one of the best cards at the time because, honestly, I'd even say it's better than Confiscation just because of the fact that, at least with Confiscation, especially nowadays, it going to the graveyard doesn't matter as much because you could still use it, but Sentry forces it back into the deck, which makes it a lot harder to access again. So, honestly, I don't blame you. That is a very good ban.
Alright, well, you got one more. Demon, what card would you like to remove from the format?
Okay, so for my third pick, I really was going back and forth between two trap cards. And I actually had decided at the start, when I knew that I had 3 bans, that I wanted to ban a monster, a spell, and a trap. So, I was kind of debating Mirror Force to begin with, because I don't have it still, and it has been a major pain in my rear for a while. But I do have ways to help counteract Mirror Force, and we still have a few opportunities left for me to pick one up. So I ended up deciding to go with a different trap card I do not have a copy of, and one that has actually been a bit more of a problem for me lately, and that is Compulsory Evacuation Device. The fact that you bounced my Stardust Dragon at least 3 different times is enough to make me go, screw this card. And, if I remember correctly, I don't actually have another chance of getting this card, because all of its other reprints come from decks, and because this was a main core set card, those decks don't actually help me here, so I'm kind of okay getting rid of the card I have no chance of getting back.
Okay, so that caught me way off guard. I thought that Mirror Force was on your radar. I thought that some of the Solemns would be on your radar.
Oh, trust me, Solemn Judgment was on my thought for a little bit, but I figure between cashback and the fact that it costs you half your life points anyway, I'm kind of okay with it, because if I can realistically bait the card, then that'll be a good benefit for me. Whereas Compulsory just doesn't do that for me at all.
Wow. I don't think there was a soul expecting you to ban Compulse. Compulse was not on my radar at all. But I can see why you would ban Compulse. That's going to make us play some different hate for extra deck monsters, and that's going to make number monsters incredibly hard to handle. So I think there's going to be a lot of boards that get gummed up by number monsters later on.
Yep. So we're definitely going to have to find ways around that, but that's the thing, though. Since I don't have Compulse, I'm okay banning it and making it harder for you. So,
I mean, I did this to you with Bottomless back in DM.
Yeah, true. So,
but just Compulse was not on my radar at all.
Alright, so with that being said, now we have a few prizes we need to discuss.
Indeed we do. We have some very important tins that came out, those being the 2012 Collector's Tins, each of which give us some extremely powerful cards. Both of us get a Wind-Up Zenmains and a Rescue Rabbit, which is really crazy.
Yep. Which is going to be really interesting, too, because between Zenmains, Rabbit, and everything else we get access to, it's going to be really interesting to see what we can come up with here.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to have access to some disgustingly powerful rank 4s. But you get the first pick out of these tins. There's, all of these are good.
Yeah, they really are. And this is the tough part, because pretty much each and every one of the tins, and we are doing all 4 together. We're not going to do one of each for each wave.
Correct.
As much as it hurts me to do this, knowing that it's going to include a practically useless card, I cannot let you get a Shockmaster, because that is going to just absolutely send me back into the drain. I am going to be picking up the Ninja Grandmaster Hanzo tin, which means that I not only get the Rescue Rabbit, but I also get Hanzo, a 4th Maxi, a 3rd tour guide from the Underworld, and the Shockmaster.
Nice tour guide. It's semi-limited, by the way.
Yeah, but I'm okay with that.
It'll come off eventually, but yeah, you cannot let me have Shockmaster.
No, Shockmaster is just way too broken, and I definitely see Shockmaster being another potential ban target immediately.
Oh, absolutely. Shockmaster is disgusting. There is a reason that card was pretty quickly banned. It is still banned today.
Oh, yeah. And it is never coming off.
So now I have a decision to make, and this decision isn't too difficult. I am actually going to take the Hieratic Sundragon Overlord of Heliopolis tin, because I want the ABYR.
Yeah, Leviair is actually a really good pickup, and honestly, that probably would have been the tin I picked up if I had chosen to let you keep a Shockmaster. Now, admittedly, Malefic Truth Dragon is kind of a rough card, but Heliopolis itself is actually not that bad if you have a decent enough Hieratic core, and Leviair alone is definitely worth the price of admission.
I agree. So now we have the tins that come with Zen mains.
Yep.
So do you want the... So here's the question. Do you want the Dolka tin or do you want the Logia tin?
And that's the big challenge. So...
They're both sick.
They are. And this is actually a really tough one because Dolka's really good, but we both have Scrap Dragon. Whereas Logia, Excalibur are good Xyz monsters, and Rabbit is definitely helpful. And I mean,
I don't know about Rabbit.
Well, I guess Rabbit depends on if you're able to get the loop going. Which
that's not going to be possible with only one copy of Zen Deity.
Fair.
Zen Deity got limited, so you can't do wind up garbage anymore.
Fair. I think honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up the Excalibur tin, which includes the Logia, because Logia is pretty useful, and Excalibur himself is also a pretty solid card. It is a bit Unga Bunga, but it has its utility.
It does, and that leaves me with Dolka.
Yep. Which
I am a little bit disappointed in that matter, because now that the episode is live at the time we recorded this, I can tell you that I pulled a Dolka.
Oh shit! Really? Oh,
yep.
That's rough.
Yeah, I pulled a Dolka.
Oh man, like I am so glad. Because I have not seen that episode yet, but I am so glad to have accidentally blocked you on getting the Logia. At least for now. If you end up getting a wild card for it, you could definitely do that. But
exactly. But I think that these cards are going to drastically change our meta.
Oh, absolutely.
Right,
and that leaves us just one more thing to discuss, and that is our promos that we picked up.
Yeah, you're gonna get a pretty good one. Not now, but for much later.
Oh yeah. So I ended up getting. We have 2 promos available, and because I won, I get to choose which one I'm getting. And I'm going to pick up the Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max. It is a really tough card to summon right now because it requires 2 level 10s. Fun fact, I actually have a Rocket Arrow Express, so I have half of what I would need to potentially summon this thing, but I am never going to do that route.
And then there's a couple different archetypes that can actually make Gustav Max pretty easily.
True.
One of them that depending on how much side set interest there is, one of the archetypes that can make Gustav Max pretty easily is Infinitrack.
Yep. And that's actually going to be a interesting archetype to work with if we can get access to enough of it.
And then the second archetype that can make especially good use of Gustav Max is Eldritch. And we should be able to get enough of that pack that with a little bit of luck, Eldritch may be playable in Progression Series, which is a little bit cringe. I don't think it's going to be quite as good as Peak Eldritch was in the TCG specifically, because a lot of our floodgates that made that deck good are banned in our format, such as Skill Drain.
Right. And, I mean, hey, even if it turns out to be a horrible deck on its own to deal with, we can always just turn around and ban another card out of it, or even ban Eldritch himself and get that out of there, so we can at least keep our format from getting too toxic.
Oh, and speaking of rough formats, we've got some pretty rough formats coming up soon. Our next set is Cosmo Blazer, and then the set after that is another set that changed the game forever.
Yep. Which, it's actually funny in hindsight. Cosmo Blazer was actually the first and last pre-release I attended while in college, and that was actually the set that I ended up taking my hiatus on with no knowledge of what was coming in the future. So, inadvertently, I ended up saving myself from probably one of the most annoying formats of all time.
I'm pretty excited for Cosmo Blazer. Fire Fist isn't that hard to make. There's one Ultra you need, and that's it.
Yep.
But, wow.
Okay, so we managed to actually beat Empty Jar, which is good. And now we have two prizes that we get to celebrate with. Now, we do have the option of picking up 5 packs of Legendary Collection Yugi's World. However, we do want to hit a rare wildcard since Stormer Ragnarok's last hurrah is in this episode. So we're really hoping to hit that third Kageki. So we're going to spin the wheel. First spin, let's see if we can get it. Just barely managed to hit it. Thank God. Alright, so with that, we get to pick up our third copy of Kageki. And thank God, because don't get me wrong, I'm really happy that we've got what we can for the most part anyway, and we're definitely not going to be able to completely max out the deck, but 3 Kageki is definitely a big benefit for this, and now we actually get to go through a few packs for fun. Okay, so as you can see, we actually have an interesting little situation. Because of a couple of interesting quirks, we actually can't show the core set lineup in Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. This is actually the promo cards that come with the collection itself. So we actually have to go into our wiki here in order to check out everything that came out of the Mega Packs. So, looking at the comments, a lot of them are basically the same basic things and simple things that we really don't care about. They have the Silent Swordsmans, for example, the original Monsters Yugi has. The Tricky's actually an interesting common, and if we could pick up a couple of those, that'd be nice, because I think we only have one. Scrolling down further, Gold Sark is a big common card that I'd like to see, if possible. And honestly, I feel like that's probably it in terms of the commons that matter. Most of the other ones are okay, but a lot of it is definitely kind of basic. Let's see, is there anything else? Oh, Dark Grepher, Dark Horus, Dark Creator, Dark Nephthys. Like, so many of the dark monsters from Phantom Darkness are in common as well. Those are actually going to be really big boosts if we could pick up any of those. Then we also see the Creator, which is kind of cool. And honestly, in terms of commons, that's pretty much it, except for Solemn Warning. That's also a big one that we want to see, if possible. And then scrolling down into the rares, honestly, I don't think there's really anything amazing in the rares, necessarily. Warrior Lady's kind of cool, but I think we already have one of her. And honestly, at this point, she's kind of lost her utility anyway. And then the rest of the rares are pretty much just trash. Like, Assailant's okay, I guess, but that's about it. Into the secret rares, a lot of them are kind of meh. Dark Magician Girl, Buster Blader. BLS is actually kind of cool, but we already have one. And he doesn't actually go back from one for a very long time. And then we see like Dark Hole, Regeki, Pot of Greed, Card Destruction. Card Destruction is actually not bad, but like the rest of these, we either already have a copy of or they're banned. And honestly, a lot of the secret rares here have that issue. MST, we have 3 of. Graceful Charity is banned. Brain Control, we already have our copies. 7 Tools is actually pretty good. Mirror Force would be really nice. But then we see like Sangin, Change of Heart, like Feather Duster. Honestly, Solemn Judgment would probably be one of the better secret rares again as well. Now, granted, we also do have the ability to respin if we hit a secret rare or any of the cards really that are banned. But even still, it's definitely going to be a hit and miss here. And then finally we scroll down into the super and ultra rares. And honestly, there isn't really too much here that's great. Magic Cylinder is kind of nice as a super rare, but we've already got 2 of that. And I think that's pretty much it here in terms of good cards overall. Like Sakuretsu Armor's here, which if Rai doesn't have any copies, that might be something for him to look for, but that's about it. And then the ultra rares, again, a lot of it we really either already have or they're just not very useful here in general. So, but that's just it. We're going to take a wild chance. We have 5 packs to work with. So let's see what happens. First pack. Okay, so we see Ordeal of a Traveler. Manju's actually not too bad. I don't know if we have a playset of that. Breaker's kind of cool, but maybe a little outdated. And then Imperial Orders here, which we are going to have to respin that afterwards. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to keep track of how many cards are banned of what type. And then after our 5 packs are done, we're just going to reflip random packs to equal those out. So then we have our second pack, which we have Warrior Lady's kind of cool. A second Solemn Warning is really nice to see. Summoner Monk as an ultra rare is actually really solid too. I kind of forgot about that. And then our secret rare is Dark King of the Abyss. Meh. Third pack. Okay, ultra rare Mind Crush is kind of cool. Shining Angel is whatever. Dark Creator is actually a really fun pickup though. I'm happy to see that. Fourth pack. Okay, so Big Shield Garna, not very good. Dark Knight Parshat's kind of cool though. And our last main pack, another Big Shield Garna. Swords of Revealing Light, we already have those. And then we have a Tricky. So, okay, so I think the only cards we have to worry about is flipping a secret rare to replace Imperial Order. So let's do that real quick. Okay, so we have our replacement pack here. The only card that matters is the secret rare. So let's flip it and see. And we get a Dark Hole. Okay. That's actually not that bad because that means that we have 2 copies of this. And there is going to be a point where Dark Hole does end up getting off of the ban list. So that's kind of nice. Just out of curiosity, let's see what the other cards out of this pack would have been. Okay, nothing too spectacular, but definitely glad to see the Dark Hole. Alright, so we're going to take these and we're going to enjoy them for a bit. Thank God we actually get to keep Max C, which is going to be very big. And, well, now we just have to figure out what we're going to do for next episode. But next episode is Cosmo Blazer, and that actually has a few interesting archetypes in it. So we're going to see what happens. Until then, we'll catch you guys next time, everyone. Thank you for watching.